Hello and welcome back to another episode of WagMe TV. Back with the boys today, and we're going to be talking about one of the biggest news stories this week, and that is the big news about Tornado Cash and the government crackdown on Tornado Cash. If you find this useful, definitely, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe down below. But we're just going to hop right into it. So I'll be sharing my screen here to run us through what exactly is going on, right? Oh, hold on a second. All right, here we go. So, big news today coming from the government. The U.S. is going to put sanctions on a crypto platform called Tornado Cash, right? It says it's been used to launder billions of dollars, namely from entities like North Korea hackers, Russian hackers, things of that nature. Definitely being used for some sketchy stuff. And we'll kind of get into what this means for the broader crypto environment and what the specifics of this, kind of sanctions include. The big question here, right, is what actually is Tornado Cash, right? That's the first question. And so Tornado Cash is essentially a privacy protocol that allows people to input funds and then withdraw them and maintain the privacy while doing that, right? And so you can see why it can be used for a lot of money laundering stuff from North Korean hackers and Russian hackers and stuff like that for money laundering. But it's also used for a lot of really interesting use cases where you just want to remain anonymous on the blockchain, right? One of the big ones, and I know Vitalik kind of came out and said this, that he was actually one of the people that did this, was people use Tornado Cash to, donate to Ukraine and things like that, right? So causes where you don't necessarily want to be tied to and want to remain anonymous, but at the same time you maybe want to donate to, a good cause and things like that. So you can see immediately kind of this dichotomy on why this could potentially be controversial. In terms of how the platform works, right? No one really, if you haven't used it, it's not very clear. But the general premise, right, is you go in and you deposit your funds, and they give you a key, basically, a code. And that code is, you can't reproduce it. It's only for you. And what you're able to do is then you can go in from another wallet and use that code that's not reproducible in any way, shape, or form, just a completely unique code to you, and you can withdraw your funds, right? And you can see how as more and more people start to use the platform, your funds become more and more anonymous, right? You can almost, analogy like I like to give is you put $1 in a black box, and you come back from somewhere else, and you reach into the box and grab $1, right? You still have $1, but you don't know exactly whose dollar you have. It's just been in there. And the more and more people who add dollars to the box, the more and more the chances are you're not going to have your own dollar, right?
So really quickly, just to take a
Mm-hmm.
quick step back. So for Bitcoin, right, the transactions are recorded on the blockchain, which is just generally public, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time as that, trades aren't necessarily linked to a specific identity or individual, but rather like a wallet.
Mm-hmm.
So and the difference here is that it's just generally not public, I assume, in that setting. Like you don't see the transactions on any sort of ledger or anything like that.
Well, I'll hop in here. So essentially, if you keep a track record of all the transactions that have gone to a wallet, you can start to create an identity for somebody based on the different interactions they've had within the network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what I'm hearing and my general understanding is this acts like a proxy. Essentially, they funnel the money through Tornado Cash, and then they're able to
Mm.
create different wallet addresses that don't have that same history of network interactions that you might with your individual Bitcoin wallet. And because of that, you're swapping out different wallets and holding your identity. You know, technically, I guess you could try and find a way to link people. It's not like these transactions don't exist on the blockchain, but they're much more difficult to figure out who's behind that specific
Got it.
transaction.
So
Exactly.
essentially, you're putting it towards like a third party essentially is Tornado Cash, right? You're, I guess, pushing money into Tornado Cash itself, making the transaction with Tornado Cash instead of making the transaction with a specific other wallet or user.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And then you're also coming in on the other side with another wallet address, right? You're not coming in with your usual wallet address because that's why they give you the code, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're coming in with a brand new wallet and then using that code, extracting the funds that you put in. So you can see when this is happening like a million plus times how it becomes extremely hard to track exactly what's going on, and as Evan was alluding to, like where the funds are coming from. Even though I think it is somehow possible, it becomes like very, very difficult.
It's
and
really,
so
really tough. And like, oh, no, keep going, Zoe.
No, you got it, Sia.
No, I was gonna say it's really, really tough because like back when like I was really like into trading NFTs and like looking at it almost every day, like one of the first indicators like a rug pull or something sketchy is if you saw funds from the wallet going to Tornado Cash, because there really is no reason for someone to be taking Bridge Cash or like NFT funds and putting it into Tornado. And so all you see on the Etherscan is like a random ID and then tornado.cash. So you have no idea. Like it's just like usually you can go to Etherscan, click on someone's wallet, see all their transactions. But with Tornado Cash, it's just that one transaction. You don't know who it belongs to. And so like 9 times out of 10, when these bridge hacks happen, like even the ones just like a couple weeks ago, it's being done through Tornado Cash. Because once they hack it, they just send it through Tornado Cash. No one knows where it came from. And, you're good to go.
And,
Yep.
and a Web 2 example here would be essentially like a VPN or different like IP hopping. If you've ever used Tor, like that's a way that you can mask your IP address, and essentially the same thing is happening with your wallet address through this.
Absolutely. And so then the question becomes like, okay, what is this regulation actually doing, right? And what they've said is, anybody on American soil or American citizen who's abroad is allowed to interact with Tornado Cash. All the assets within Tornado Cash and controlled by Tornado Cash are essentially like blacklisted and banned, right? And it's put a lot of pressure on some of these companies. So any wrapped BTC, any wrapped Ethereum, any USDC that has interacted with Tornado Cash is actually blacklisted, right? And so Circle, like the founder of Tornado Cash, what's interesting here is a lot of people don't know this, but Circle has control over every single BTC that's out there, okay? They can blacklist and freeze any BTC that they want. If it's in your wallet, if it's in my wallet, whatever, right? And so they've gone out and they've frozen, any BTC that interacts with this Tornado Cash wallet, right? So that brings in this whole kind of discussion about centralization and decentralization and what that really means and what that means for stablecoins specifically. Another thing that I kind of want to bring up is, this is essentially, I think the reason why this person is doing this is to kind of illustrate how creating kind of a broad strokes rule like this and creating a broad strokes regulation like this is not entirely the best way to go. Because just for every, kind of criminal person who's using Tornado Cash, there's a bunch of people who are using it perfectly normally, right? Specifically for privacy reasons and things like that. And so what we've seen here, this is actually pretty wild. What we've seen here is basically somebody from the Tornado Cash address is trolling people by basically dropping them small amounts of Ethereum that is blacklisted, essentially blacklisting the funds in their wallet, right? And making them like blacklisted wallets. So somebody is literally just going and dropping 0.1 ETH into, dropping 0.1 ETH into all these like celebrities like the, Brian Armstrong, we got Jimmy Fallon, we got the Puma brand, Dave Chappelle, all these people, they're just like dropping them, like all their, celebrities who have public ETH addresses and stuff. They're just dropping them blacklisted Ethereum, just basically it's just trolling, right? And it's just like illustrating how kind of ridiculous in this world of crypto and Web3.
Yeah, we might have lost Soham there, but that is really interesting. That's it's not really funny for the celebrities, but really troll-like behavior.
So I don't know if you might know this, Garcia, but if we get if they get blacklisted Ethereum, does it blacklist the entire wallet, or is it just they cannot utilize those specific coins or tokens that they are?
Yeah. So my understanding is that it could be asset specific, but for example, if you have only Ether in your wallet, it might blacklist your entire wallet. You know what I'm saying? So like it might be, and so maybe Soham has more insight into this, but from my understanding, it was any asset that at some point was tied to Tornado, that asset is then frozen. So like if you have ETH and BTC, but your BTC in your wallet was not blacklisted, but if they are blacklisting wallet addresses, then that means that they're hosed. Like they'll have to just create another wallet. So I think that's. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that they're trolling like that, but I think at the same point, like to what Zoe was saying, is like it's a way to like show them that what they're doing isn't necessarily maybe the best way to go about it. But
yeah, that's super interesting.
Can you guys hear me?
We got you back.
Yeah, we're good.
I don't know what just happened, but hopefully it doesn't happen again.
But
yeah, no, it brings up the broader point of like A, the regulation stuff, and B, the regulation around stablecoins, right? It's a very interesting kind of touchy subject, and it's like the first time that maybe not the first time, but one of the first time the government has come in and said, oh, we're cracking down on like this specific thing. And then you just have this kind of like shit show that illustrates, okay, like what are you going to do now, right? Are you going to go and like blacklist all these innocent people's wallets just because they have, like they were sent blacklisted Ethereum that they had no way of denying, right? Like it's all there on the blockchain, right? Like you can go look. They did nothing wrong, and they have no way of being like, no, I'm not going to accept this transaction. They just got sent it. So now what, right? It's very interesting.
Yeah, and Mata asked a good question. Do you know, Zoe, if like for example, if a celebrity gets sent Ethereum, is it just that asset of Ethereum that's blacklisted, or are they actually blacklisting like MetaMask crypto wallets, or like any crypto wallet that is tied to that asset? I thought it was asset based, but I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
I don't know if it blacklists the other assets within your wallet or not.
Okay. It should just be that.
That'd be really interesting.
But yeah, that'd be
really terrible.
But either way, I mean,
yeah, and also like a very strict rule that, like you're saying, Salam, is wide sweeping. It doesn't actually go after the issue that people are running into here. And it's, a bad example or a good example of what bad regulation in a space can do. This is something where if this were to happen or be tied to, if this type of regulation were to be tied to stable coins, we could see broad sweeping changes across different areas of crypto like stable coins, and not actually coming in to get rid of the bad players in the space, promote the good players, promote best practices. And yeah, I mean, troll behavior has always been a part of crypto. It's not going to go away. But regulators got to come into the space and be smart about where they decide to make impact. And this seems like not a great way that they were able to do it. So,
yep. Completely agree. And, obviously rapidly evolving situation and one that will definitely keep a pulse on. I think that's pretty much it here. We wrapped up. Definitely an interesting situation. As mentioned before, if you have any thoughts on this, and something that we may have missed or something that we should look into, definitely comment down below. Make sure to throw us a like and a subscription. And we'll see you in the next one. Wag me.
Later, guys.
Peace.
Wag me.
Wag me.